Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at some changes that are being worked on by Riot behind the scenes, so stuff that is being tested or developed ready for the game at some point pretty soon. There aren't a ton of details for some of these, but it does give us an idea of what to expect, but we're going to try and keep this video nice and short. By the way, we're almost at 600,000 subs now, which is kind of ridiculous honestly, but let me know in the comments what you think would be cool to do, so like a special video or a giveaway maybe. If you also haven't subbed yet and you're watching this and you enjoy it, definitely hit that sub button, turn on notifications and help us get there. So the first one we're going to talk about is LeBlanc getting the Rengar treatment. Not everybody is aware of this right now, but they're going to revert part of her kit back to how it used to be because the mini rework didn't really work out. I guess it could also give her new abilities, but they're most likely just going to revert some of them back to the old ones. It doesn't really seem like they're going to actually make a whole new kit for her. It's not classed as a mini rework. Basically, you know how Rengar right now is getting his old Q back, for example, and his old ultimate back. That is pretty much what they're doing to LeBlanc right now. We're likely going to see it in a few weeks, but release it in 8.6 or later. It was basically the days of using a W forward, pressing Q, pressing R and Q again, and just one-showing everybody. That is how it used to be, and they're reverting part of that back. There is a new keystone being worked on as well for the resolve tree, most likely, and it's a dual percentage penetration probably now, which is giving both percentage arm pen and magic pen. It's aimed for champions with mixed damage, but also bruisers. So someone like Jax, for example, it's aimed to help you beat tanks, especially because it's all percentage penetration. There is a lot of stuff like sudden impact that gives you a flat amount. Percentage is really a tank busting thing, so it's deliberately as well making sure that it's not going to be good for range champions. It seems a pretty good idea. We have a lot of tanks in the top lane. This is a keystone specifically designed to shut them down, but it's more like it's aimed at beating just those tanks than anybody else. So like for split push maybe. We're gonna have to see as well whether it'll only be good for mixed pen champions or good enough for just one source as well, like if they only do physical damage. I can't think of that many bruisers that deal magic and physical together honestly, but there are a lot of bruisers that just deal one that really need a new keystone. There are some general game stuff that's really aimed for pro play, but still going to affect us as well. So Tracker's Knife is most likely being removed. Junglers aren't supposed to be ward bots apparently, so that's just gone. It's only some champions it will affect, but honestly, most solo queue players build red and blue smite anyway, right? Lee Sin though definitely gets a bit buggered out of this, and they're apparently going to keep an eye on him and maybe buff him if he needs it, but they don't think he will. Another thing that most people might have missed is they're thinking about adding old summoner spells back to spellbook now, so you can swap the things like Clarity, maybe even Revive. These are the ones that have actually been in the game at some point, right? Clairvoyance was kind of like our blue trinket right now, revealed an area for 5 seconds, so I would doubt that would come back. I know it sounds weird, but they were removed for a reason, and I'm not sure which of these wouldn't be game breaking if they came back, to be honest. Now, a few other things they are looking at for next patch or very soon after that, Relic Shield and Rune to give early healing are likely being nerfed. So poke needs to be a bit better and trading needs to be more effective. Relic Shield and coin, by the way, as well. The lockout for gold generation is going to be added a lot like Spell Thieves is now. It means that laners cannot abuse it as much, especially somebody like Gangplank who just builds it and gets loads of free gold. Zombie Ward is likely going to get a nerf again. It's already got one nerf a few patches ago, I think, but now it's going to get another one. It's mainly around how much vision it's actually giving. Teleport nerfs as well are likely going to come in. Riot are not happy with how it stops as much aggressive play, especially in pro play, but also in solo queue. It's unlikely going to be a rework before anybody says that. They want to keep the teleport as it is kind of, but the cooldown maybe being increased, who it's used on as well, they're going to look at, and how it can stop aggressive plays or just be used defensively. One of the main champions getting nerfed though very soon is Tristana, giving her some sort of obvious weakness now, not bringing down how strong she is as like a champion, as a carry, but just easier to beat. One thing they're going to give her to start with is a higher ultimate cooldown, most likely anyway, so that she's not as safe, but they don't think this is actually going to do that much. One thing they could be doing, they're kind of experimenting with now though, is nerfing how much she can fight in the lane phase, so reducing her early power because she's going to scale into the game very well anyway. They're also going to nerf Dustblade damage as well, also possibly who use it more than once, so like the reset stealth mechanic within that as well. They want to buff some assassins basically, a lot like Zed for example, but they say that Dustblade would make them overpowered so they can't touch the champion. The idea is that if they nerf the item that is used on a bunch of different champions, they can target specific ones that aren't as strong and make them better. There are also going to be some buffs and nerfs to different dragons, and most likely buffs to the weaker ones, which apparently are Cloud and Mountain Drake. I didn't really expect Mountain Drake to be in there, considered quite weak, but both are not very good early game, so they are left alone a lot more and it slows down the game. Even Ocean apparently is taken a lot more, and Infernal obviously is the most important one. If we look at the mid lane, there are going to be nerfs to Azir, Ryze, and Galio most likely, and who reckons honestly Ryze is just going to get another rework soon? They even said here in this post that Ryze is still hard to balance when he's so good in pro play, but not great in solo queue for average players. So that's pretty much the problem and why he's been reworked so many times. Finally, Nocturne and Olaf, we don't have any details for this one unfortunately, but they're both getting buffs in next patch or the one after. Finally, there are a few more champion things to expect. So Lissandra is too weak, passive is pretty bad, and doesn't feel good or interesting to play with really. In 8.6 roughly, so a few patches time, they want to give her a buff and maybe replace her passive at the same time as well with something better. Ahri was talked about a little bit by Medler, so the power is okay, power level is okay for her, not that fun to play anymore though. Her W is a bit basic and it's hard to really carry with her. They were saying that basically when she's behind, she's still very safe and she's fine, but when she's ahead, she doesn't really crush like other champions. There isn't that much of a reward for playing well and getting a lead in the game, basically, which needs to change really. Riot ideally want her to be kind of that bridge between assassin and mage apparently, and this should be coming in 8.5 or close after, making more difference between a good and a bad Ahri player, maybe her Q speed boost being removed and possibly a new W spell or a little rework for it. So that should give you a quick look into what Riot has been cooking up for us soon, TM, I guess. Most likely we'll see the stuff on the PB next week or a few weeks after that. Thank you again as well for helping the channel reach such a massive milestone. Never thought it'd happen, honestly. But as always, I will leave you with the robots.